Hello guys, this is Simplex once again back with WNU 2.0. This is Sagnik. I'm Shan and this is Abhishek. Let's get started with this week's news updates.
Hello everyone, so today we have chosen 4 topics. The first topic will be Orpheus. Basically, Orpheus is a headphone which is designed and marketed by Sennheiser, and it's a $50,000 headphone. Mind it, $50,000. So Shan, what's your view on Orpheus?
Orpheus is actually the Bugatti of headphones. Abhishek?
Yeah, it is like the 8K equivalent of audio.
And for me, it will be something like the Scarlett Johansson of the audio world. So that's how special it is.
Right, Sagnik. So, the obvious question is, why is it $50,000? Well, there are a few differentiating factors, and anyone and everyone who has tried the Orpheus says that, it is a class apart. Now, why is it? Small intro, the opening sequence, when the Orpheus opens, the knobs pop out, and we haven't witnessed it ourselves, but we've seen it on screen. My god, it must be quite an experience. Plus, getting into the nitty-gritties, instead of the, magnetic, stuff in your headphones, I won't get into the details. What it has is platinum vapor, and that is what produces the sound, right? So, yes, Orpheus is quite a headphone, and everyone who has tried it has said it's awesome. Now, getting to the $50,000, like he asked me about $50,000, well, like the examples we gave, if you did get a Bugatti, would you think about the price? If you did get an 8K TV, if you could afford one, would you think about the price? And about what he said, well, then again,
that's priceless.
Yeah, that's priceless, exactly. So, anyone and everyone who's looking at the Orpheus shouldn't think about the price, right? They should enjoy the experience and embrace the experience. That's what I think.
Yeah, I just like the look on people's faces when they listen to the Orpheus. It's like a serious dude just changes. And
Exactly. Like this year it was unveiled, it was showcased in the CES 2016 event. So we have seen great YouTubers like MKBHD, Austin Evans. They covered the event, they covered the product also, and all of them, like they said, this is an experience which must be experienced. It cannot be explained through words. Right. It cannot be quantified by monetary value. So Orpheus, it's a very $50,000 is not a very commercially viable idea, but overall the idea is to give the best sound possible, and I think Orpheus is something which is capable of doing that. Okay, so the next topic will be something about virtual reality. In 2016, for me 2015 was the year of wearable tech. Like we saw many wearable technology like the Apple phone. Oh yes, I'm also using the Xiaomi Mi Band. Then the Fitbit they came out. 2016 for me, it's going to be the year of virtual reality, and the two main products are Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. Both of them were unveiled in the CES 2016 event. Oculus will be offering their first commercial unit henceforth. And so, Shayan, what's your view on virtual reality and the Oculus Rift as well as the HTC Vive?
Firstly, let's get into the virtual reality. Like he said, rightly said, this is the year of virtual reality, and VR honestly has a whole new world to be explored. I mean, a lot of content is coming and being made by developers, and it will be an offer. For example, VR was the sideline in last year when The Martian was shot, the movie. There was a section shot for VR. That was, I think, a 15-minute section, but that's it. It was a section shot besides the movie, right? Now, what will happen in 2016 is that is going to get the focus. So if you are actually shooting something, it will be particularly a VR content, and 360-degree cameras are becoming more commercially viable. So we'll also see more indie products out there, and by products I mean content out there. So Oculus Rift was just unveiled, and the pricing was also unveiled, right? And I feel that the $599 that they said is a little too much to ask. And even without going into how much it will cost in India, I can point out that given the tax rates in India,
One second, certain European countries have higher tax rates than India, so that's not
exactly, and that is why most of the tech products we'll see gets a US price, and then the product comes out in parts of Europe and India. And parts of Europe, just like India, has a very expensive price, right? So this is something that we'd like to point out. If you have something at $599 in USA, how much would it cost here? For India, I can safely bet, I think...
But Shayan, like iPhones,
Yeah.
they have a cost of like a price tag of something around $900.
Yeah.
And people are still buying iPhones in India as well as China. So
That's the difference. It's
the-
Apple, right? Okay, and yeah, there's a sort of status quo attached to an iPhone, and
Hopefully
more
Oculus won't.
often than not, you can take out the iPhone out with you, and people can flash their iPhone in a party. Trust me, if you flash an Oculus in a party, people are going to call you a geek.
Definitely.
Period.
but you never know. Maybe in 2017, Apple will introduce a new Oculus Rift of Apple's version, and
Yeah.
everyone will think that it's the next big thing invented
Next
by
big
Apple.
thing, yeah.
It's invented by Apple.
Yeah, okay.
Then that'll be in trend.
That will be in trend. Yeah, that is possible. Especially if Steve Jobs was alive, I'd actually give that to Apple, because Steve Jobs obviously brought in a lot of new things, but also more than evolution, or like more than revolution rather, he brought a lot of evolutionary products which actually took the market by storm. So yeah, if Oculus Rift can nail it, kudos to them. But based on what I have seen and the market response right now, everyone says it's a little overpriced. But let's give Oculus the kudos that they deserve. They are including an Xbox One controller, they're including a headset, they are including the Oculus Rift itself, along with attached headphones. So quite a lot. But they are not including, guys, just for info, the touch controllers that they're supposed to include. Oh, and I forgot, they're also including a touch remote, so you'll be able to navigate through all the, let's say if you go to the Steam VR section, you'll be able to navigate through all the VR content of Steam using Steam's big picture and just the touch controller that Oculus provides you with. Also, let's say the Xbox One controller. But given that the Xbox One controller has a much lower price, is $599 worth it? An absolute no from here. No, it's not. That's what I feel. I'll come to HTC Vive a little later.
And
What do you feel?
What do you feel about Oculus Rift and HTC Vive?
Yeah, I am eagerly waiting for the Oculus Rift, but at this price range, it will be really problematic. And I don't have much thoughts about HTC Vive. Is it cheaper than the Oculus
HTC hasn't
Unveiled the price.
unveiled the price tag
Unveiled
of the
the price.
product.
Hopefully,
So-
it will be cheaper and.
Yeah, it should be cheaper. And just for the record, apart from HTC Vive and Oculus Rift, a number of other VR solutions are coming to the market. For example, Gigabyte is also coming up with their own, let's say, own take on virtual reality. A number of companies, I'm sure, will take. Oh, and before we move on to other headphone companies, a very cheap, sorry, not headphone, VR headset companies, a very cheap VR is being launched by a Chinese company called Fires VR. They call themselves the Xiaomi of VR, and they're coming out with G-Dome 1, or however it is pronounced, G-I-D-O-M-E. Right? So I'm positive about the fact that new VR companies will come out, and VR by the end of this year is going to become affordable. If not Oculus Rift, others. Now, along with the price of Oculus Rift, what I'd like to mention here, and what we missed out, was that VR is not just Oculus Rift. To power the Oculus Rift, you need an incredibly powerful PC. You need a Core i5 with at least a GTX 970. So that alone is going to run you around, say, $800 to $1,000 in India. It'll be north of 75,000 rupees alone. Remember, the computer alone. So putting all the costs together, in USA it should come to around $1,500 $2,000 comfortably, the whole set, the VR and the computer. And in India it's going to obviously cost you north of 1 lakh rupees. So Is it affordable? No. If you're rich and you want to get the VR experience, can you get it? Yes. That's pretty much it. I cannot elaborate more on this any further.
The next big news in India for this week is that Netflix is finally in India. So, what do you feel, Abhishek, about about Netflix and the services of Netflix?
I think Netflix, what they are doing is really great. They have their exclusive shows, and they are providing an awesome platform for all sorts of content. And it's a great thing that they are coming to India. There are many advantages of Netflix over other video platforms like YouTube, which Shan, you can remember.
Okay. So, firstly, guys, those who are watching and those who are telling us, oh, we have uTorrent and we have Torrent and we have BitTorrent and we don't need Netflix, don't do that, okay? Guys who actually shoot films and they shoot serials out there, they have to work a lot. And trust me, guys, if we go on pirating stuff, then very soon there won't be any content produced, leave alone having content in the torrent websites out there.
And
so
it's
I think
going to get costlier as you do more piracy. The actual content will be more and more costly.
The quality will also decrease.
Quality.
the quality will decrease.
Simple.
There's so many cons. So I believe, even if you find Netflix a little steep right now, sooner or later, if you're a student, it's absolutely alright. But if you're earning out there, guys, come on, let your conscience prick. I mean, don't pirate stuff anymore. Because if Netflix is here, a few things that, like Abhishek said, I'd like to first say a few things and then I'll get into the technical details of Netflix, why it has optimized itself for the Indian bandwidth, because obviously you'll say India has a pretty limited internet infrastructure. How has it optimized? So first, Netflix is available in India in 3 plans. 500, that offers just standard definition content, SD, that's technically 640 into 480 or 720 into 480 anyway. It's 480p basically, and it offers only a single screen experience, one profile. Take it a notch up, 650 rupees in Indian currency, and you get 2 screens or 2 profiles, and HD content, high definition content gets unlocked. And the extreme, the best plan out there is 800 rupees. Now that's quite steep, but what they give along with it is also pretty decent. They give you 4 profile options, okay, so 4 screens you can play it in, and at the same time you get Ultra HD unlocked. Now, whether Ultra HD content can be played in Indian speeds is kind of debatable, but I'll tell you how to make this affordable. Suppose you want the best platform, right? The best tier plan, and you cannot afford 800 rupees. And if you're a student, I completely get that. We are all students. What you can do is split the 800 rupees plan amongst 4 friends. So suppose you have 4 friends, okay, and you take the 800 rupee plan and split it into 4. Suppose Abhishek pays 200 rupees, Sagnik pays 200 rupees, I pay 200 rupee, and Mayuk, who isn't there today, pays 200 rupees. So we are, viewing content legitimately, and in that account we have 4 different profiles, right? The Simplex team has 4 different profiles. So Abhishek watches whatever he watches, and Sagnik watches whatever he watches, and their content suggestions does not get mixed up, which is pretty awesome because they have 4 different profiles. So that is how you can make it really, really frugal and affordable. Coming to the next part, the content available. Right now off the bat, Netflix doesn't have as much content available as I thought it would have. For example, House of Cards. It's it's a Netflix exclusive set of episodes, like season 1, season 1, season 2 and season 3. I think there are 2 seasons. There are 2 seasons. Third season will come out this year.
Netflix
Don't quote me on that.
originals.
Yeah, Netflix originals basically. So Jessica Jones is out there, Daredevil is out there, but like House of Cards I said isn't out there. Coming to Indian content, very limited Indian content. Very few movies, some old, some new, but not everything. But what Netflix has promised us is that every day it's going to get more content providers on board. So rest assured, within 1 year, what you get on Netflix now will be much better. Okay, so you'll get a lot more in Netflix in just 1 year's time. So given that, should we use Netflix? Now that's the next question. What was Abhishek saying? He was saying it's better than YouTube, right? And he was right. Because, suppose we pay 500 rupees or 800 rupees and take Netflix, and the internet isn't fast enough to stream Netflix. What happens then? Well, fortunately that is not the case. Netflix allows you to flexibly choose audio bitrate and video bitrate. So initially it automatically does that for you. When you start the content, start playing, it's in very, very low definition, but it is buffering at a higher bitrate. Now how did I do that? I'll come to that later. And then with time, 5 minutes into the video, the content, you'll see the whole experience is much better, and it is making the maximum use of the bandwidth available, like for your connection. Now how do you manually do this? Control Shift Alt S, press four keys of the keyboard together, and bam, magic happens. Control Shift Alt S, right? You'll get options to choose your audio bitrate. Now based on what I saw, most of them are in 64k APS, 96k APS very few have. Now video bitrate, so you can choose a host of video bitrates out there. I think it was 250 all the way up to 3000. Okay, and at the same time you can also change your CDN, so the source of your content can be changed. Now playing with these 3 settings, if automatic selection does not satisfy you, you can play with these 3 settings, okay, and you can get the best, let's say, feel of Netflix. Now there's something called Stats for Nerds in YouTube. Right click and go to Stats for Nerds. That is very limited, and that is not at all nerdy when you compare it with Netflix. Again, Control Shift Alt D this time, and this whole screen gets this transparent overlay of all the details that you want. Okay, it goes as far as telling you your left channel and right channel details, and how much audio, like the bitrate of your audio, to the bitrate of the video that you're playing, and the bitrate of the video that is being buffered at, right? Also the FPS it is playing at. I mean, a host of details. I mean, try it out for yourself and get to know. But having said everything, I understand that the pricing of Netflix might not be suitable for everyone. So my suggestion, or our suggestion, is give it a try, right? Just register for 1 month. It's free. You have to give your credit card details or debit card details, and it will charge you 70 rupees. That is effectively they're going to transfer $1 and see whether your card is valid or not. And if you don't like it, cancel your subscription. It's absolutely alright, but do give it a try. I have been personally using Netflix, and I have been watching Jessica Jones, and it's a good series, but the overall user experience of Netflix is pretty good. Granted, I have a decent net connection. At night I get, I think, 8 Mbps, so that's pretty awesome. So I can go in HD, but I have limited my bandwidth, and I have tried out, okay, even with 512k APS, that's right, I throttled my bandwidth to give you guys a taste of what it is, and I've seen it actually, is pretty nice, and it was working perfectly with 512k APS in standard definition. So that's all about Netflix.
So I wanted to ask you something about something about this thing called YouTube Red. We heard that YouTube Red came it was unveiled by YouTube last month, most probably last month or maybe last month. Yeah. So we can expect that YouTube Red will be coming to India this year, this year only.
Sure.
So what is the basic difference, since we brought in a comparison between YouTube and Netflix?
Yeah.
I think we should also talk about what is YouTube Red and how is YouTube Red different or similar to Netflix.
For now, YouTube Red, the purview of YouTube Red is pretty limited. Okay, what they aim to do, I can talk about that, and how it's going to actually have a head-to-head collision with Netflix. YouTube Red is basically a paid subscription-based YouTube that allows you, for now, okay, the headline features are, it lets you switch off your phone screen and still stream stuff. Okay, listen to music. That is basically, if you are watching music videos, you can do that. Also, it gives you access to certain paid content. If a producer thinks that it's going to show its movie on YouTube, if you have a YouTube Red subscription, can you watch that. And also, if you take YouTube Red subscription, the Google Music subscription becomes like a complimentary thing. You can also use Google Music completely. But in the future, what YouTube and Google, especially with all its wealth, can do is it can take all the content providers on board. By content providers, I mean Warner Brothers, like Fox, and for India, Red Chilli Entertainment. Anyway, all Dharma Productions.
One more thing is, Google already has this thing called Google in Google Play, Google Movies,
exactly,
Google Books,
exactly.
So I think Google is planning to merge everything. into
Every
YouTube Red.
in the future. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So once they do that, everything comes under YouTube's purview. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind right now, Google Movies, each of the movies, I mean, cost for renting, I think it's 75 rupees, and for high definition, if you want to buy the movie, each movie, guys, is 650 rupees. On the flip side, for Netflix, every month, if you take a paid subscription, you can watch n number of movies, n number of videos, and Netflix is not going to restrict you. So a big kudos to Netflix out there. Now trust me, when I'm constantly about Orpheus, I said downright, it's nice, it's expensive. About what was it, Oculus Rift, I said it's more expensive. But trust me, Netflix has a market.
Yeah.
If not now, very soon it's going to get that. And India especially, it'll be a little difficult because Indians resort to piracy a lot. And trust me. And yeah, once that phases out, Netflix is the way to go.
And one more thing, Netflix is offering a 1 month of free subscription to the new users. So if you want to join Netflix, this is the perfect time. Join Netflix, experience Netflix.
That is
You are getting everything for free for the first month, and if you like it, you can go for the subscription, paid subscription.
Right.
So that's it for Netflix. Our next segment will be about 4K and 8K. Like this year, like starting from last year, we have been seeing companies coming out with 4K displays, even with even 8K displays. And this year in CES itself, in 2016 CES, companies like LG, Samsung, and all the big companies, they came out with 4K TVs. Like Nikon, Nikon. Companies like Nikon, they have also unveiled 4K and 8K cameras. So I feel that 8K and 4K is certainly going to be very relevant in the coming years. So I want to ask Abhishek and Shayan about what do you feel about the concept of 4K and 8K, and how do you think this is going to change our lives, the way we consume content. So what's your view, Abhishek?
My view is that 4K is slowly creeping into our lives, and definitely this is like the new HD when HD was 5 years ago. But yeah, now we are seeing 4K recorders and displays more and more, and definitely it's increasing its relevance. 8K is just coming out, and yeah, there are some displays which were showcased at CES, but yeah, definitely it's an upgrade, and it's always nice to have a better quality of visuals.
So Shayan, what do you feel about 4K and 8K?
See, firstly, 4K, like rightly Abhishek pointed out, this is the new high definition. And yeah, Ultra HD has its place. Because now what has happened is, the 4K gaming, firstly I'd like to start with that. 4K gaming has become possible. There are graphic cards, the GTX 970, starting from the 970, we can actually play games in 4K. Granted, you have to reduce the settings, and all the way up to 980 Ti, you actually get, displays where you can actually play games in 4K 60 FPS. Okay, I meant games, not displays, sorry. So, and if you have two 980 Ti's, 4K at 60 FPS and even beyond is possible. Something that was, it's expensive, no doubt, but something that was not even possible a few years back. Even the Titan couldn't do it when the Titan was the biggest thing in the graphic card market. Okay, all the way back in 2013, I guess. Anyway, now so as we see, 4K is becoming possible. So the moment you can play 4K games, 4K content is unlocked. Okay, so all the games essentially that you have that supports 4K, I mean all new games support 4K, and for gaming basically it renders in your graphic card. So irrespective of whether it supports or not, with a mod here and there, every game will support 4K. So all your games are supporting 4K. 4K content, a lot of it already gets unlocked. Now coming to videos that are there, I'd not see movies anytime becoming 4K, because what happens in the movie industry is that they use 4K, 6K and 8K cameras to shoot, but they downsample to full HD so that the details that are captured by them gets let's say emphasized more, or the picture quality becomes a little bit better. So for a number of reasons, for numerous reasons, they actually downsample and make it look even more gorgeous with the full HD. So 4K movies, not anytime soon, but 4K content, absolutely, it's out there. 4K YouTube videos are there. I mean, some of the we are a small channel, so we have in full HD, but Linus has it in 4K, MKBHD has it in 4K, and Austin Evans has it in 4K, and there are a number of YouTubers who have it in 4K. Granted, YouTube actually degrades the quality in 4K because of its compression, because of the algorithm. Someday I'll make a video on that. Anyway, but what really matters is 4K is out there. So if you get a 4K monitor or a 4K display, you actually have content to enjoy. Now, next, coming to the affordability. 4K TVs in India was around north of 3 lakhs a few years back. I mean, 2 years back when it started. Now the AAA brands, okay, the Samsungs, the Sonys, the LGs, they have TVs in 1,50,000s, 1 lakh range, and new companies like Woo, okay, Woo has a 4K TV in 55-inch 4K TV, 55-inch guys, in just I think 60,000 rupees or 55,000 rupees. So
It's like super cheap.
yeah, it's super cheap.
4K.
Yeah, 4K and 55,000. Make no mistake, guys. Few years back, 3 years back, 55,000 rupees was the price of your full HD smart TV. So yeah, 4K is making a huge leap, and especially with the new codecs out there, you know, the VP9s, the H.265s, etc. 4K will become more easier to stream, right? So H.265 compresses the video. Right now, biggest problem is the bandwidth. You cannot exactly stream 4K videos because a lot of bandwidth is needed. But the moment the better compressions come out, the better codecs come out, okay, the compression becomes better. The moment compressions become better, your video will be compressed and you'll get the 4K native output, and 4K will be awesome. But coming to 8K, it's a whole different ballgame. 8K is basically 4 times 4K. So take a 4K TV, have 4 of them, okay, and that is 8K. Now scientists say, this is not what I'm saying, medical science says that the human eye has a limit of 8K. That is what medical science says. So if you have a television right in front of you which is in 8K, will it make much of a difference? This is something to be seen, and it is debatable, because there's something called perceived resolution, or perceived, how to put this, PPI, right? If you have a full HD screen of 22 inches, which is just 107 PPI, and if you're sitting at least 1.5 feet to 2 feet away from it, you will not be able to distinguish the individual pixels. So coming to 8K, if you have a 8K display, what do you expect to do with it? Do you expect to, stick your nose right up to the display? Because if you have a 4K 110-inch display also, and obviously viewing a 110-inch screen, you need to actually sit at a considerable distance away. So at that distance, what you will be able to see is basically, very lively content. And if you make that 4K 8K also, not much difference will happen. But where will 8K actually have an impact? I feel like the Red Dragon and the Red cameras out there, they have 8K modules out there. You can upgrade them to 8K. Now the moment you do that, you will actually have better 4K content. That is where I believe 8K cameras will have a better application. Does 8K have an application? Absolutely, 8K has an application. Right now what I feel is 8K has an application in capturing video. You see, what 4K captures does to 1080p, 8K captures will do to 4K. So essentially, when it's possible for movies to be shot in 8K, they can be downsampled to 4K, and that will have the same effect as downsampling 4K video to full HD. That means 1080p. So yes, I think 4K, the resolution is 3840 x 2160. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the DCI, the wider, the cinematic aspect ratio, when you take that into account, it's 4096 x 2160. So multiply that with 4, and that is your, not 4, into 2, the resolutions into 2, and the whole thing into 4, and that is your 8K display. That is essentially 4320p, 4320p, guys. For now, I think 8K is still it's a distant future. That's what I feel.
And one thing you have to take into account is recently we've been seeing devices which has a small screen, but still they force 4K into it. Yeah, it's just senseless. You're just increasing the PPI. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, because you will definitely view it at a distance from your eyes. You're not going to just look closely at, say, a phone or a
Like
laptop
for example,
screen.
most of the mobile phones, like not most, some of the companies, they have been coming out with 4K displays. I think Sony came out with a 4K display. Many other companies have also come out with 4K displays. So the question is, what is the relevance of the 4K display in a phone? Like,
Yeah.
So essentially Sony
maybe the
Xperia-
display is very good, but it's also making the processor work more
Yeah,
because it has to render more pixels,
Yeah.
and it's also affecting the battery life of the phone.
Battery life.
So we have to think about the trade-off also, not only about the quality of the screen.
Actually, what Abhishek said, there's no difference in quality, because I've seen an Xperia Z5 up close, premium. It was there in one of the shops, and it was kept beside a Z5, mind it, which has a full HD display, and this one has a 4K display. But essentially, what the Z5 Premium does is it renders everything in full HD, everything, right? But there are, I think, only 2 apps. That's what the person out there told me, and that's what I've seen online also in Sony's keynote. There are 2 apps, the gallery app and the video app, the one that plays the video. They are the only 2 apps that actually renders things in native 4K. So granted, your 8 megapixel onwards, higher resolution photos will look amazing in the screen, but only when you hold it up close. The moment you actually take it to the distance where you actually view a phone from, the display becomes absolutely normal. So I think 2516 to 1440, I could actually see a difference, very slight though, between 2516 to 1440 display and a full HD display. But with a 4K display, that whole debate gets negated, because how in a 5-inch plus display, how much will a 4K result to? I think it's 800 plus PPI. That is absolutely, I feel it's obnoxious. Okay, that is unpleasant outright. Who wants 800 PPI in a phone? I mean, that's stupid. Rather, if you have, like Sangni rightly said, 400 PPI or 500 PPI, that's absolutely alright. That gets a better battery life.
I have been using a phone with 290 PPI and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, 290 PPI, it's absolutely alright. I mean, look at it.
For me, battery life is more important, and
Yeah.
snappiness of the phone is also more important.
Exactly. So it should be smooth, it should have a better battery life, rather than have a 4K display, okay, that I can hook up to my, my living room TV is a phone with 4K display. Yes.
We should make an experiment, like show them an 800 PPI phone and show them like a 400.
That's a good
PPI
idea.
phone. And
Guys, write down in the comments if you want this. We can do a blindfold test between a full HD display, a 2516 to 1440p display, and a 4K display.
Not a literally blindfold test.
It'll be a blindfold test. We will just have
How can we like cover their eyes and?
No, not that way. It'll be like a cardboard. We'll cut out. We'll come up with something innovative.
Yeah.
Just let us know if you want it. There'll be one particular place of picture in all the 3 displays, and they'll have to watch, from a distance, and you guys will be able to see it. So let us know if you want that.
So thank you guys for watching the video.
if you're watching with us till now.
Today we didn't have Mayuk, who is the 4th member of the group. If you like the video, please like the video. If you do not like the video, it's okay. You can drop in positive criticisms about how can we improve the quality of the video as well as the quality of the discussion. You can also give your views and give your points in the comment section. And please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And mind you guys, we have already crossed 30,000 views. Thanks a lot for all the views.